Santa Monica for 20 years. Michael, thank you so much for joining us on Vote 2004.
Thank you, Sandy.
Well, we're going to talk about traffic and parking. How would you characterize traffic and parking in the city?
Sandy, it's awful, and that's one of our biggest challenges. It's a problem both for some decisions made in the 1980s when we rezoned what became the Special Office District, where we have the Water Garden, and that's why we now have the commutes that come to Santa Monica instead of downtown. And then there are the problems that come with being part of the LA region and the poor planning that has gone on and how that affects us. And that's one of the reasons that I've been a lead opponent of the Playa Vista project.
The city's tried several approaches to facilitating traffic. What do you think's worked? What hasn't worked? And what would you propose to do?
Well, Sandy, I believe in smart land use strategies that reduce the need to commute. That means having a good balance of jobs and housing, and to have housing available for all income levels so that we both increase the chance that you can live closer to where you work and to work closer to where you live. Second, we have to protect community-serving small businesses, and I've stood for removing burdensome, unnecessary regulations on those businesses so they can stay. Third, support more public transportation, not only our nationally award-winning Big Blue Bus, but I want to work to bring the Exposition Light Rail line to Santa Monica. That will reduce a lot of commutes and help a great deal. Then more cooperation on the regional level. As mayor, I helped to start the West Side Council of Governments, together with Culver City, West Hollywood, Beverly Hills, and Los Angeles, and we now are working on a West Side Comprehensive Transit Plan. Finally, I serve on the Southern California Association of Governments Regional Comprehensive Plan Task Force, where we're working on combining land use and transportation on a regional level, so that will work better for Santa Monica and the region as well.
Michael Feinstein is a member of the City Council. He's lived in Santa Monica for 20 years. Michael, thank you for joining us.
Thank you,
on
Sandy.
Vote 2004. What kind of development, if any, do you support?
Well, Sandy, Santa Monica is a very desirable place to live, and that's both one of our blessings, but one of our challenges in terms of development. We have to make sure that future growth and development serves our community rather than overwhelms us. In the next 2 years, we're going to do an update of the city's general plan and zoning ordinance, and we have to carry forward with the principles of sustainability and resident inclusion as we look at our vision for who we're going to be. First, we have to make sure that future development doesn't overwhelm our infrastructure. Second, we have to incentivize both affordability and green buildings so that environmentally oriented, saving water, saving energy, it reduces pollution, and it decreases the cost of living. Third, we have to protect the scale of our existing residential neighborhoods. And fourth, we need to plan for more parks and open space, because with all the people living in apartments, they don't have enough private space, and with all of the sports demand, we need to increase that as well.
What do you think is the appropriate balance between development and affordable housing, and how will you address this issue?
Good urban planning has a balance between jobs and housing, and includes enough affordable housing so that people can both increase the chances that they'll live closer to work and work closer to where they live. That reduces commutes and pollution and stress and increases quality of life. I've worked hard to ensure that private development includes their fair share of affordable housing so we don't displace that burden onto the taxpayer. At the same time, I also support using public funds in order to both preserve and increase the amount of affordable housing.
What do you think is the proper role for city government regarding commercial growth?
One of the important roles that municipal government can play is master planning. And I'm a big picture, creative type of thinker, and what I've tried to do is bring together the promenade, the pier, the Civic Center, and the future light rail station that we're going to have at 4th and Colorado. The clogged artery in downtown planning right now is Santa Monica Place. They're not doing very well, and I went to their corporate owners a few years ago, and we talked about what they might do to fix things. They're going to bring down their entire project, tear it down, put all the parking underground, open up the project to the air. The promenade is going to continue through. There'll be connections at 2nd Street and 4th Street. This is going to allow pedestrians to flow through the entire downtown to connect all of our great areas. It's going to increase the economy without building to the skies. It's going to make it more livable, and we're going to have a great civic space all the way from Ocean Park to Wilshire, from the pier to the rail station, something that I think we'll all be very proud of in the heart of our city. That's the kind of creative role that municipal government can play to help business, to improve the quality of life, and to make this a better community for us all.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Let's talk about the homeless. Recent surveys have shown that homelessness is one of the issues of greatest importance to the residents of Santa Monica. How do you perceive the homeless situation?
Well, Sandy, I think that homelessness is one of the most vexing issues that confront us sociologically, economically, etc. First, I think we have to operate from the premise that we can't criminalize homelessness. Being homeless itself is not a crime. We also have to remember that there, by the grace of God, there go I. There are people who are on the street that are suffering from mental illness who really belong in state or federal institutions, but they don't exist for the mentally ill. There are people who are suffering from spousal abuse. There are people who have substance abuse problems. And all of those really need our help, and I think we're judged by our compassion by the weakest among us. At the same time, our public spaces, our commercial districts, our parks and open space, those places have to be comfortable for everybody in our community. And everybody has to be able to feel that they can go there. And that's something that I think we have to accomplish at the same time that we try and help people get off the street.
If re-elected, what would you do to change the situation?
Well, first, I think we have to build on our successful model. We have what's called a continuum of care, where we have many social service agencies in the city that all do a variety of things to help people get off of the street. There are shelters for women who are suffering from spousal abuse just to wake up somewhere safe in the morning. Thank God that we have something like that. Then we help people with hygiene, managing their money. Then there are job placement programs, transitional housing, and each year we actually get hundreds and hundreds of people off the street. The problem is, it's a regional problem that is so large, there's 60,000 people suffering, and other cities aren't doing their share. That's why, as mayor, I helped establish the West Side Council of Governments, so now we have a formal cooperation between West Side cities, and part of the fruit that has been born from that effort is that the Armory in Culver City is now open year-round, and there are more shelter beds. But we need greater cooperation on a regional level from other cities in the county for them to take on their fair share, and the state needs to have an affordable housing program that actually works, and more mental health care for the people who really need it.
There are several organizations which are in part funded by the city who serve the homeless. What suggestions would you have for the work of these organizations?
First, I want to applaud the conscience of the people who are there to help people in need. What we need to try and do then is, first, we have to try and connect the food programs with social service programs, so we aren't just keeping people alive on the street, but we're connecting them to a path to get off the street. Two, to the extent that we can have the food programs not be in our city parks, but actually out in more private spaces, I think that that will help for how people perceive the problem in the community. And then third, social service agencies need not to just work in Santa Monica and the West Side, they need to work where the homeless come from, which is all over our region. And the region and the burden needs to be shared more equitably. I think that would help us with this problem.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.